You are God in human flesh. You are a spiritual being having a 3D experience. In this existence, you have chosen to embody a form, yet your true nature remains boundless, infinite, and divine. This is the absolute and irrefutable truth of your existence. Everything else is the fabrication of facts. You are inhabiting this body for a very limited amount of time, and when the time comes, you will leave this costume behind and return to the non-physical. Your true divine nature transcends time and space. It is more real than anything we can feel with our senses. Yet most of us feel stuck in our 3D world because of the elaborate stories our mind tells us. The human mind is the creator of reality in which it lives and breathes. Nothing in your life and world is objective. Everything is tainted with your specific perspective. The good, bad, and the ugly, they all are renditions of our minds. So even the limitations we place on ourselves, the fears that stop us from realizing our strength, are in fact narratives that our mind has designed by picking up cues and signals from our environment. From the moment we are born, we are exposed to the beliefs, fears, and expectations of the people and societies that raise us. These same influences begin to shape our understanding of the world and our place in it, even before we can fully comprehend their significance. So one can assume that none of us was really given a chance to search for our truth. It was handed over to us and forced upon us by social conditioning and peer pressure. We were forcefully shoved into conformism, an intricate web of societal expectations, cultural traditions, and familial pressures designed to mold us into a version of ourselves that fits within established frameworks. While that version of us never served us, it did serve the status quo, the accepted and well-established norms of the society. Therefore, over time, we began internalizing those messages, believing them to be part of our identity, and in doing so, we unknowingly limited our own potential. So to become your divine self, you have to move beyond your learned states of consciousness. You have to understand that these habitual states don't define who you are at your core. They're temporary experiences we all encounter in our human journey. Yet when we choose to step into such lower vibrational states, those of fear, anxiety, resentment, or despair, we tend to forget our own divine truth. In these moments, we get caught up in the illusion of separation, the idea that we are small, fragile, or incapable. And in that disconnection, we lose touch with the divine power within us. In the divine Hindu scripture of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that while the body is perishable and transient, subject to decay, disease, and death, the soul, or Atman, is indestructible and eternal. The soul continues forever and ever. It neither takes birth nor ever perishes. It is beyond the confines of birth and death. This profound teaching was essential in helping Arjuna deal with the fear of death and understanding the impermanence of the material world. The verse reads, "There was never a time when I did not exist. There was never a time when you, Arjuna, all the kings in the battlefield, and all other living beings did not exist. Then where is the question of death?" So, in essence, a human being is nothing but its soul. It is the only thing it carries from one birth to the next. All the material possessions we acquire, the accolades and prestige we gather in this lifetime, and the approval we seek from others are fleeting echoes that momentarily feed the ego, but leave the deeper self yearning for something more substantial. Ego is the reason we find ourselves trapped in the drama of 3D. The ego thrives on material rewards because they are tangible evidence of our power and importance. And sometimes these material accolades might bring us temporary satisfaction, but the cost of separating from our God self is too great. What can be more powerful than God? The divine power that created galaxies, that breathes life into everything and that moves mountains, is the same power that resides within each of us. Nothing in our 3D experience can match the divinity and richness we may embody by knowing our true selves. Eventually, the novelty of every experience, relationship, or material possession fades, and we find ourselves back at square one. No matter how thrilling or significant it looks in the moment, the intensity of the joy and excitement inevitably diminishes over time. It must have happened so many times in your life as well. Sit down for a moment and sincerely review your life. Can you find a time when you achieved an ambitious goal, like getting a new job that felt like a dream, being in a relationship that was so electrifying, or the new house or car that you worked so hard for? So how many weeks or months after achieving that lofty goal were you still in that ecstatic mood? Notice when you were on your way to achieving that milestone, it felt like this was the answer to all your problems and the golden key to your happiness. But it did not feel so after achieving it. This is the cruel paradox of our material existence. The more things and goals we achieve, the bigger our thirst gets, and thus we are forever in the state of not having what we want. When the initial excitement dulls down, we often find ourselves searching for the next thing, trying to replicate that fleeting high, and we all know how that goes. Then the question arises, why do we choose to come into the body and separate ourselves from our God self at all? The reason for entering our material bodies is to discover our divinity. As a soul enters a new body, it gains a unique opportunity to experience the world, learn, and evolve from a different vantage point. This is what we all are doing in different bodies. We are experiencing ourselves through different perspectives and also realizing the truth of our existence, our God self, that lies beyond any birth or death. This cycle of birth and rebirth is called Samsara, and ancient wisdom suggests that it will continue to entrap us until we become enlightened or one with God. Most of us keep going through this repetitive loop of struggles, desires, attachments, and lessons one lifetime after the other, yet we never seem to find the way out. You can also perceive the cycle of samsara as a delicate web woven by our karma. Every thought we think, feeling we embody, and action we undertake contributes to our karma, and our karma keeps us in samsara. The only way out is awakening to our higher self and letting go of the ego-driven self we all have become identified with. The Hermetic text of the Emerald Tablet by Hermes Trismegistus touches on similar esoteric ideas. The mysterious text implies that a divine unity exists between everything in this universe because all things were created from the same source. The apparent differences between us are because of the different physical avatars we assume to navigate this time-space reality. You might look different than everyone else on this planet, yet you are still bound to them by an invisible thread of light. We cannot see this thread of light with our limited senses, but it is the profound truth of our shared existence. It is the God force that unites us all, and each one of us is a vessel through which the light of God pours itself and experiences materiality for a short while. This powerful lesson from the Hermetic text reminds us that if we want to be one with God, we have to first accept the unity behind its creation. You might not like another person, a group, or a community, and in doing so, you are depriving yourself of the light of God. The others you encounter through your journey may have a different path, a different history, or a different way of seeing things, but we are all here for the same reason: to experience life, to learn, to grow, and to return to the source of all. And here it is vital to understand that aligning with God means aligning with the highest frequencies in the universe. You can attune to this frequency by embracing the emotion of love. Love is one of the highest vibrations in the universe, so God is nothing but the energy and feeling of love. When you feel love for yourself, others, and life, you create a potent electromagnetic field around your heart. This field is so powerful that it can radiate way beyond your body and interact with the field of unlimited possibilities. You can think of it as a wave of energy that sends out a frequency, attracting to you people, opportunities, and experiences that are in alignment with the love and positive energy you are emitting. In a way, you become a magnet for all the things and experiences that would help you stay in elevated states of consciousness and truly feel the emotion of love. But to be able to create this electromagnetic field, you have to be in a state of heart coherence. Being in a state of heart coherence means the heart is beating in sync with your intentions, and your energy is flowing smoothly, unimpeded by negativity or emotional turmoil. When you are in this state, you feel an opening and releasing sensation in your heart chakra, the energy center located right in the middle of your chest. To get into a state of heart coherence and to create that incredible electromagnetic field around your body, you can try this exercise. Sit in a quiet and comfortable place. Gently close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to relax your nervous system and disconnect from the outer world. As you feel calmer and grounded in the moment, fixate your attention on the area between your chest. Remember, where you place your attention is where you focus your energy. So when you fixate on your heart area, you essentially fill that area with energy that would assist in its opening. Once your attention is gently fixated on the area, breathe through it. Imagine that every inhale and exhale you take passes through the heart center and activates it. Now bring an elevated emotion like love or gratitude while being in this area. The elevated emotion would make you feel that the resistance is fading away and your heart center is being activated. The more you do this heart coherence exercise, the longer you will stay in elevated states of consciousness. Each session will help you attune to a higher frequency, allowing you to emit a powerful electromagnetic field from your heart center. Eventually, as you continue this journey, your heart space will remain open effortlessly, not just during the practice, but throughout your day-to-day life. You will notice a shift in how you experience the world. You will move on from your habitual thought patterns of fear and unworthiness, and the feeling of love won't just come by in fleeting moments, but it will become your default state. Your soul is searching for the feeling of love. It wants to experience love while being caged in this physical body, because when you vibrate at the frequency of love, you vibrate with the frequency of God. Neil Donald Walsh describes the same idea in his book, Conversations of God. He writes, "The soul is after the feeling, not the knowledge, but the feeling. It already has the knowledge, but knowledge is conceptual. Feeling is experiential. The soul wants to feel itself, and thus to know itself in its own experience. The highest feeling is the experience of unity with all that is. This is the great return to truth, for which the soul yearns. This is the feeling of perfect love." But the proof of us being God is not only mentioned in ancient scriptures or spoken by esoteric teachers. It's now being validated by modern science. Science is confirming what mystics have long known. We are not separate from the divine, but expressions of it. Our very own being, our consciousness, and the energy that flows through us are reflections of the infinite intelligence that governs the universe. The concept of a holographic universe points to the possibility of the entire universe being a projection. This means that the three-dimensional world we experience may be an illusion, with the true nature of reality residing in another paradigm. It also means that every part of the universe contains information about the whole, so the entirety can be found within each of its parts. Keeping this view in mind, we can assume that our consciousness is not separate from the universe, but is a mere reflection of the greater whole. Each one of us, though seemingly different, is a localized expression of the divine, so we all are capable of accessing the infinite potential of God by aligning with it. Also, quantum physics tells us that mind and matter are intrinsically connected. It's our consciousness that leads to the creation of circumstances in our lives, and being a creator is one of the most powerful attributes of God. And since we all are extensions of God, we too possess that unique capability of turning energy into matter, which is also referred to as the act of manifestation. The observer effect also lends support to this idea of us being the divine creators in this 3D realm. This principle tells us that the mere act of observing a quantum event may change its outcome. The famous double-slit experiment has proved this phenomenon. The findings of this fascinating experiment reveal that, at the subatomic level, particles do not behave as fixed objects when they are unobserved. Instead, they exist as waves of potential possibilities. But the moment an observer, such as a measuring device, is introduced into the experiment, suddenly the same subatomic particles start behaving more like matter. They become fixed. This experiment tells us about the deep and undeniable impact we have on the world around us. When an idea, thing, or experience is not observed or paid attention to, it simply floats around in the field as a possibility. But when your mind acts as the observer of something, it manifests in your physical reality. This is why you are God in human form. However, to reveal this aspect of yourself, you first have to get rid of years of flawed conditioning and incoherent thought patterns. And there is no better tool for this than meditation. Here is a quick Vipassana meditation technique you can use to reach your most authentic self, hidden and commune with the divine. Sit comfortably in a quiet place. Make sure your back is straight and you feel relaxed in the moment. Close your eyes gently and bring your attention to your breath. Breathe naturally without forcing it and observe the sensation of the breath. If thoughts arise in your mind, simply observe them as they come and go. Acknowledge their presence, but do not engage with them. Next, bring your attention to the body and notice all the physical sensations. Mentally scan your body from head to toe, observing and honoring each feeling and sensation along the way. The key to Vipassana is observing with an attitude of neutrality. Don't label thoughts or sensations as good or bad. Just be an observer. As you regularly indulge in this practice, you will peel away the layers of conditioning that cloud your perception. Your inner connection will get stronger, and you will eventually become a pure vessel for God's light to flow through you.